This is Prachi Jain Shah. Welcome you to the Edno podcast, the rankers of Ednovate. And I'm so glad that you've achieved AIR 17. It's an incredible achievement. And I do understand that you are an outstation student. And I know for my time, I really needed that support system. I wanted my entire family to be with me. So I'm not an outstation like outstation outside India, but from Gwalior, I came to Mumbai for my studies. But I know it pains a lot, and for you, it has been an incredible 3 years which you kind of spend without your family here in Mumbai. So hats off to you, hats off to your commitment, consistently getting ranks and being with top firms like KPMG as well as with Pyramid Alternatives. A big congratulations to you, Mayank, for AIR 17. So just tell me, how is the feeling to have those two golden letters prefixed to your name, CA?
Ma'am, it feels really good, especially after how the journey has been, the amount of pressure, hard work, managing office, classes, studies, and then eventually the last 4 5 months, what they were. After having seeing it all through, the first thing was that you just pass. That was
Correct.
the first thing I saw. Rank was the next thing because honestly, for me, I couldn't even imagine looking at the books again. After those 4 5 months, I was just like, I have to get through. Of course, I was expecting a rank, but you never know, right? And these kind of exams, it's always within you that even if there is a 0.001% probability, that will all be in the mind at the towards the end of the result. So it feels really good and really excited for now what's ahead to come.
Yeah, it's incredible, Mayank, because when I was just seeing the rankers list which we had, like we had 8 rankers this time from Ednovate, and I was very surprised when Yasho told me that you're an outstation student and you did this all alone. I mean, I can just resonate with your journey, of course, for a shorter time frame as yours, but that has been incredible. Mayank, can you share a bit about yourself and anything which you want to share with us and your journey? You did spoke about your journey. How did you pursue the CA? What led you to actually start CA as a career option? I think there was other alternatives available and you're based out of Dubai. So what made you feel that? Is there someone in the family or you really wanted to do this?
After 10th, one thing what I was clear about was that I did not have that deep interest in science. Though I always used to score really good marks, I was a school topper, and when I chose commerce, it was a surprise for everyone because that was not really the trend, right? And in my family, there are like 10, 12 Cs easily. If I start counting, it might even be more than that.
Okay.
Just a rough number. So because of that, I had seen many people who are now at good positions, and I used to like math because at that point until 10th, math is all you had seen, which is somewhat similar, right? And so I chose commerce 11th and 12th. And why CA at that point of time? Because it was the most difficult thing to do. Everyone used to say ki CA is the most difficult thing one can do. And because I had been hearing that someone chose commerce because it was the easier part to go in 11th 12th, which is the case if you compare in 11th and 12th, and that is why I used to feel that maybe I can do it. CPT also wasn't much of a challenge. When I actually started my inter classes, that was when I realized that yes, now I know why I'm here. Earlier it was because of other people saying things, looking
Mm-hmm.
at others, because at that age, that's all you know. But when I started my inter classes, looking at the level and looking at it was level as well as interesting, not just because it was difficult, but because also it intrigued me. It was all interesting stuff from my angle. And that, that was the first time I realized that good thing that I'm actually doing CA. Because of all the people I knew, I think at that point of time, only 3 or 4 were going down this route. Everyone else were either doing SCCA or bachelor's and then planning for a master's. Because CA at that point, even now, if you ask anyone to even think about CA, it will be altogether a different discussion, right? So that was the tipping point. I think initially after 11th, and then when I had started my inter classes, because inter classes were in Mumbai, and I had initially come. So I needed something to hang on to. And I think
Right.
those were the inter classes. And then I realized that good that I've come. Obviously, it was difficult, but good that I've come.
No, no, absolutely. I think you sometimes, I think the calling, you may get into it, and maybe you realize that this was your calling. So I think I totally resonate with you. So someone who loved science, I still love science. I explore, I read a lot, but I don't know why I ended up started doing commerce in 11, 12. And you don't know because you're not that clear at that tender age of
Yeah,
6, 17, and 18 years
correct.
that you decide, oh, this is the clarity I have. This is what I want to be.
Yeah.
So we are totally resonate with that. And I find your Mayank, it's very exciting to see that I was just reading your LinkedIn and realized that you were doing audit during your articleship in the first 2 years,
Yeah.
and then you moved on from audit to pyramid alternatives, which is more
Yeah.
like a private equity fund of pyramids. So very
Yes.
interesting switch. So I really want to know about that and how you landed up doing that, and then also narrate a little story about me because I think there are a lot of similarities between you and me.
First year of my articleship at KPMG, everything was online. So I was in Dubai for the entire year,
Okay.
first year. And then I had come to Mumbai. So in Mumbai, I was staying at RVG hostel. So it was just that there was another of my friend who was also in KPMG at that time. And he had also left that for a private equity industrial training. And when I used to discuss with him, I used to see a sparking difference in the mindset, in the thought process. Like he used to look at everything from a business angle, value chain, like the simplest of the things. He used to break it down into 10 different things. Everyone is making money here, there. So that is when I actually realized he was also ranker. I was also ranker. He is 1 year ahead of me, but in terms of knowledge, he is like a different person altogether. And the reason which I could make out was the industrial training in private equity, right? But obviously, I also knew that if you want to do industrial training, it's about leaves or you'll have to defer your attempt. It's a difficult call to take. So that was when it first struck me that maybe I should try. And when I was trying, I landed up at Piramal Alternatives. I didn't have to defer my attempt. I got decent leave. So I'm grateful. I think it just happens. It just happened that I was just telling to my friend that I will do industrial training only if I get at a good place. I don't have to defer my attempt, and I don't compromise on leaves. And everything happened.
So
And I think it's just almighty. It just happens for a reason, I think. But it was a superb experience, very big shift in mindset, because in audit you are looking everything from a compliance angle. You're not running your mind every day, because it is more or less monotonous. If you're on a client, you'll keep doing it again and again, so you won't learn anything new. But the learning over here, because every company is different, every promoter is different, every industry is different, everything has its own reasons. He might not know it, but it is our talk to understand that is the why anything is the way it is.
right.
So it's a very good experience. I think the last 1 year at Piramal Alternatives, the I've really enjoyed working because of the type of work. And yeah,
It's the business bent of mind. You think about the business cycle, you think about the distribution channel, which a normal
yeah,
remote learning in audit or tax will not going to give you. So I'm
yeah,
very glad that you chose pyramid, because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
and I think only someone who works there will understand what like you are talking about, right?
yeah,
Otherwise nobody will understand that. And since I'm from that particular field, I exactly know from where
yeah,
you are coming from, and that learning would be great because now I'm sure you would have decided that you want to continue with this particular
yeah.
role of understanding. It's
Correct.
very
Yeah,
exciting. So that's great.
exactly. Yes.
I'm sorry I'm
Yeah.
like bogging you down, but I think there's a lot which we have in similar. So I just want to share that with
Yeah.
you as well.
Yeah.
So you did talk about the industrial training part of it, and of course, you've been lucky to get those leaves. But I think those leaves are not as sufficient as maybe for a normal person who is doing the articleship from a CA firm. So how did you manage it during that time? Because I think it is relatively lesser as compared to the leaves. Or did you get the good chunk of leaves while doing your articleship training? And how did you manage it during those times?
So in my case, I had around 4 months of leave, which in my opinion felt was decent. But obviously, I saw my audit friends 5 years, 5 months was the minimum, bare minimum. I saw 6.5 also. So at that time, I used to feel that I'm here working and everyone else is logging. So that was of course there, but I knew that from the beginning I had known that, and that is why when I had planned that I have to join. At that point of time, my studies was not at a great shape. It was going a bit slow, and that is when I actually accelerated my syllabus. Accelerated in a manner that for November exams by Feb end I was done with all my classes
Wow.
because I knew that I will be at least 1 month behind everyone in my study leaves. And main पढ़ाई I think study leave में ही होती है.
Correct.
You can create a base before that,
Correct.
but you have to capitalize on in those last 4 5 months here. And I knew that I will lose that 1.5 month, how much ever
Correct.
it is. And that is why I had planned that last 3 4 months of industrial training, the March to May June period, that is when I would at least run through the syllabus once from a conceptual angle.
Understood.
Memorizing was not the objective that time because it's not possible also to alongside office memorize audit and all that. Not possible. But it was more of because I also knew that alongside classes, I was not very regular in revising stuff. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of the drawback of CF final that beyond the point, everyone knows that you shouldn't do it, but almost everyone eventually gets into the race of completing the classes. सबको
Correct.
पता है लेकिन सब करते हैं. That's how
Correct.
it is. So I knew it, and that is why last 3 4 months I had kept so that it can be a concept revision, and which really helped me in my first revision during the actual leaves because it had created a base, and that's why in 7 to 8 days almost everything I was able to do one time every subject, which for any normal guy was taking 9 to 10 days. And that is where I had caught up in my first and second revision.
Mayank, being a CA, I understand your journey and the fact is that सब कर लेते हैं और मुझे भी कुछ याद नहीं था मैंने जो पढ़ा था फाइनल्स में मतलब जब भी कर रहे थे जो भी और तब तो इतने सब्जेक्ट्स भी नहीं होते थे वी हार्डली 2 to 3 सब्जेक्ट द रेस्ट इज ऑल यू हैव टू स्टडी योर सेल्फ राइट एंड देन वो लास्ट के 4 5 महीना इज लाइक सो डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू बिकॉज
Yeah,
पढ़ना भी है क्योंकि पुराना तो भूल ही गए सो इट इज फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम यू आर
yeah,
रीडिंग इट राइट so
exactly. Yeah,
it's difficult but I think the thought process which you have done like that you wanted to not like just learn it you just wanted to first understand have that conceptual clarity
yeah.
and then because you know that once it's conceptually clear then you can move on to
Then,
the next step of understanding and then the revision
yeah,
happens because I don't think कि इतना portion होता है ना in the CA right especially final 8 subjects so much a burden everything happening in the final right Mayank, again, I'm bringing that outstation student because you are there, but of course, you must be missing your family, right, to a great extent, or the work in the office keeps you occupied, or how did you manage it?
so then if you ask me initially post school during my inter classes, initially it was difficult because coming from Dubai and then in Mumbai, local train, traffic, very big jump. So initially 2 3 months were difficult, but then as I got along with people during the classes, matlab, when you're away from home, you need good peers and something to keep you occupied with, I
Right,
think. So
right,
most of the day will go through and life moves on. So will saying that inter classes I was very well occupied. I had good
okay,
friends, so it went well. I came back. I wrote my inter exams during final CA. Post my 1 year of articleship, and I actually went back to Mumbai. That time again, initial 1 or 2 months were again tough because it was after more than a year I was staying away from home. But again, as it is said, hostel work it kept me engaged. And I think post Piramal, the work really kept me engaged. It was either work or study because I was off everything in the last 1 year. I was like going out on weekends and I had stopped everything. So last November to this November, it was either work or study. In that way, I was quite engaged. And of course, I used to come to Dubai every 3 4 months for some time. So it was fine. Of course, you do miss, but there is a larger goal in head. There's a reason I had left.
Right.
So if that is always running back of the mind, we can do what we are required to do.
Right, Mayank, right. And I think Mumbai keeps you busy. I mean, if you want to be busy, it will keep you busy. It will keep
Yeah.
you on your toes. So there is no
Yeah.
time for you. And I think you have, once you have the right company, right passion, and the direction. Like if
Yeah.
you're clear what you want to do, I think this country can fulfill your dreams. Is what I feel.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm from Gwalior. I have spent now a year more than I've spent in my city where I was born, and now this is my home. Like someone asked me, I said, I'm
Mm.
not going to leave the city until I die. This is my home now. So that's so much love for this particular city. I'm sure you will also fall in love with this by now, with after
Yeah.
3 years
Yeah.
completing this. Much
Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
Dubai, I'll tell you. This is a hustling city. It helps you to learn everything. I mean,
Yes, I
everything.
agree.
So that's
Yeah.
it. So the next question which I wanted to ask you is that I mean, you have a very wonderful journey, right? So any lessons or challenges which you have faced? I think you spoke about the challenges, but lessons or learnings which you want to share with aspiring CA students. I mean, or any advice which you want to share with them, which you think is relevant for clearing the exams.
So I think the entire CA journey, every stage of it, has a different critical success factor. So you have to do different things at different times to succeed. The last 3 4 months of exam period, that time you have to be at your best, stay away from distractions, completely focused, right? Be motivated every day. So that is one part of it. Along with articleship, managing work, to ensure that you keep studying every day, because that is, I think, the biggest mistake which almost majority of the guys are doing, is that they are keeping everything for the end, and it just doesn't happen. Even after second revision, which I had done during my leaves, which is in fact third, because I had already done one before my leaves. That time also I was not confident. It was actually during the third when I actually realized कि हाँ अभी हो जाएगा. So this is how the syllabus is. It has to be consistent efforts across a period of time, and then towards the end, it is when you actually have to sprint in this marathon.
Right.
Because if you leave everything for the end, it will be too much to cover. So every stage, you have to realize that, of course, you have to enjoy also 3 years. You cannot only be in that one mindset, but you will have to keep it at the back of the mind that beyond a point, I should restrict myself.
Right.
That I think is a very important thing, especially after intermediate, because before intermediate, everyone are just out of school.
Right.
So they study anyways. If it's a professor pressure also they will do, parents, but post inter it has to be more of self motivation, because you have cleared that big hurdle. I feel directly after school clearing inter is very difficult, because it is a big jump. I think CAFC to inter and inter to final, the incremental jump versus the mind power. I think CFC to inter is tougher in that sense, because 3 years of articleship teaches you a lot from a practical standpoint, where concepts become easier to understand. But directly out of school, if you are looking at tax and all, it is very difficult to grasp all that, because heaven in your life you have seen all this salary, PGBP, and all those things. So
Right.
yeah, ultimately I think, yeah,
I always used to say that foundation for me, I'm a CBSE board student. So
yeah,
foundation was like a cakewalk. I mean, there's nothing,
true,
right? And
yeah,
I remember tax was the only new subject. I'm someone who have never taken coachings in my life. That's the final only because
okay,
Mumbai में सब ले रहे तो भेड़ चाल में you feel FOMO हो जाता है ना कि नहीं यार we'll
yeah,
miss out on something. And inter में the only one subject which I took was tax because tax was a new subject for me. मतलब I've never studied. वो था ही नहीं हमारे CBSE बोर्ड में भी नहीं था. फिर graduation start किया तो उधर भी नहीं था. And वो handwritten notes होते थे उनके तो हम we used to write, we used to. And you still ask me, I can tell you, of course the law का section change हो गया अभी, but if you tell me, I can exactly tell you what it is. And that's why I chose tax because I was so intrigued into that whatever he was teaching and the laws. And हमारे time पे the laws were not very clear. There was a lot of interpretational issues. There was a lot of ambiguity in the law. And I think 2005, as I said, was the year when, since the foreigner investors started coming to India, as an Indian government, we realized that we need to provide them tax clarity because if that will not happen, the FI inflow will stop. So I think that time onwards, we started working on it. And 2010, we launched this DTC code, like direct tax code. And we started working on it to improvise on it. And of course, it got, as a law, it became law a little later. But those were so important, right? So yeah, I totally agree. Ki one teacher whom you like the most in Ednovate.
Dhaval sir, I think.
Dhaval sir, okay.
I like everyone of, I think it goes without saying, but I think more so Dhaval sir because of the style of teaching.
Right.
Like even difficult concepts become easy because of the way it is taught, and especially I remember because the way he used to teach, everyone used to make mistakes because he used to leave it open. He will not tell anything at the start. Everyone will apply their mind, go wrong half the time, and then understand why they are wrong. And once you are under that process, you will never go wrong.
Right.
I remember many times while solving the questions myself, I used to remember कि हाँ class में ये exact इधर गलती हुई थी.
Correct.
That meaning in that question you're through. You will never make the mistake again if you have made it in class.
True.
And that style I used to love because firstly you are applying your mind. You're not grasping what someone is saying. And so that style of teaching was really nice.
I totally agree. Dhaval was not there when I was a student, so I always tell Dhaval sir कि आप होते तो शायद costing में हमारे marks बहुत अच्छे आगे होते because I never used to understand costing so well. Of course, I learned it when I did it practically because when you do financial modeling and all, costing is an essential part of it. So it becomes automatically you'll understand. So, what are your future aspirations and goals? That's the last question from my side. But after that, we'll do a quick rapid fire question round with you. Yeah, tell me what do you aspire to do now? Like from here, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So the experience here has been such that it is not more on the data pulling outside, but of course everything is there, but they also first leave it on you to apply your mind. And then when something falls short, you understand why, where did you go wrong, what did you miss? So starting from the ICAI, financial modeling, all the meetings. So I was involved in the entire life cycle of any deal.
So, and do you like to pursue any other further courses? I mean, want to do MBA or want to work for some time and then wait, like after like that, getting that exposure, want to do something else, or along with that, you want to do something else?
No, so I do plan on getting an MBA, but I think maybe after some years of good work ex, and then after that, or planning on masters.
And which is your dream university? Like if you want to, I mean, of course you're a rank holder, so I'm sure you would have thought it and you will get it.
So haven't really set that dream right now.
Okay.
Taking one step at a time, either in India or somewhere outside India.
Got it. So if India, it has to be, you have to be in any of the IIMs ABC.
Yeah.
I mean that's how it goes. And if it's outside, it has to be the best, the Ivy colleges, right? So
yeah. Yes.
Understood. So you want to do that. So we'll quickly do Mayank, the rapid fire. So few questions quickly you have to answer. Your biggest support system, family, friends, mentors for this 3 years of your journey?
Family and friends.
The first person you shared your rank with?
My mom.
Oh, one idol person you look up to?
My dad.
Okay, great. Your favorite place in India?
Mumbai, I would say.
Mumbai, okay. Your favorite time pass destination in Dubai?
With friends, hanging around anywhere. As long as I'm with friends.
Got it. One word that comes to your mind when you define, when I say these words: success,
Hard work,
money,
passion,
CA.
dream.
Wow, that's called for an incredible end to this wonderful session with you. Are you a Marwari, Mayank?
Yes,
You
yeah.
said RVG. Okay. So one last
RVG,
question.
yeah.
One last question, because that's not I've included, but I typically do that with my inter-CS students because they're still kids. So it's dal bati or dhokla or neither of it. Oh, what's your favorite food?
I think Dokla is better than Dal Bati.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a lot.
much once again. Big congratulations to you and to your family. Great work, Mayank. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye. Bye.